Let's head over to the Indian River Land Trust now and talk with Ken Grudens. Hello, Ken.
Good morning, Bob.
Well, a couple of things to talk about. The one being a new service that is starting soon, if it hasn't already.
Yeah, the county, Indian River County, acquired a pump-out boat to pump out septage from boats all up and down the Indian River Lagoon in our county. And the Land Trust and the Clean Water Coalition of Indian River County helped make that happen by providing matching funds to a grant, actually two grants that the county applied for from the state. So they were able to get state funding at 75%, and the Land Trust and the Clean Water Coalition provided $30,000 and $10,000 respectively to those programs.
And it's my understanding this is going to be a free service?
Exactly. The idea is to try to remove any hurdles or obstacles for boats that are moored on the lagoon. Boats that are at a facility have the opportunity to pump out, but there's so many boats that are just moored out in the water, and they aren't necessarily connected with a pump-out facility. So it's an opportunity once or twice a week. The boat will be able to come up and offer that service so that folks that are moored in the lagoon won't be sort of stuck with the only option, which is potentially dump it into the lagoon.
Yeah, either that or head over to the Vero Beach Marina, which sometimes isn't all that convenient. So,
right, and there might be a cost. So it's again removing obstacles and trying to maximize the protection of the lagoon. It's sort of like a septic to sewer program on the water.
That's a good analogy. It is, yeah. Well, hopefully it'll get underway if it hasn't already, as I said earlier, and help make the lagoon a cleaner place for all of us.
That's the idea, Bob. It really is. And I applaud the county for taking the initiative, and in particular the Department of Natural Resources at the county that spearheaded the effort. So my hat's off to them, and we're happy to be a part of that success.
So is the boat just going to go up and down the lagoon and get flagged down by different boaters, or how's that going to work? Hey, come over here. I need to dump out here.
I think there might be a little bit of that because the boat's going to be its own advertising in a way, but there'll be an opportunity for people to call and say, I need a pump out. When are you coming by this part of the lagoon, and sort of make an appointment, if you will. But it's probably a combination thereof. They've got a couple of models to follow in St. Lucie and Martin counties, which have had a program like that for some time and with great success. So we know it works, and I'm sure it'll be a little bit of figuring out what's the happy medium between meeting people in real time versus appointments.
Yeah. We also have one other thing. You're looking at acquiring some more land?
We are. You always ask, Bob. So I wanted you to be the first to know, and everybody listening, that we are working on more projects where we continue to work along the south prong of the St. Sebastian River, where you've got this beautiful stretch sandwiched between routes 510 and 512 on the southwest corner of the Sebastian Highlands, with these beautiful, really majestic cypress stands with cypress trees that are, I don't know how old they are. I would imagine they've been around since the 19th century, and they're 5-6 feet in diameter, some of them. And so we've been working to acquire land along there and eventually create a greenway trail system, working with a number of partners up and down that corridor, including the City of Sebastian and the county and the Marine Resources Council, and of course the Friends of the St. Sebastian River. So we are actually under contract for another parcel, sort of a keystone piece the final puzzle piece to allow us to potentially develop a trail in one section of that stretch. And we should be closing by the end of July. So we're pretty excited about it. It's a small but critical piece of sort of a missing puzzle piece.
Yeah, that whole area is really, really unique. And it's kind of like a part of old Florida. And I would imagine there's a lot of people who've probably never been out there.
No, No, have you?
I have, yes, and
Okay.
it's a
Excellent.
it's a great place. You know, there are some walking trails there as well, and places to have picnics and stuff, and just the overall ambiance of the place, I guess, is just old Florida without the mosquitoes.
Old Florida, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's really a gem, and we're excited to be able to protect key pieces. This will be our third acquisition along that stretch in the past 3 years to piece together the puzzle. So we're excited to be part of that. Bob, we're also excited. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there was a huge win for conservation for the Land Trust and for the people of this county. When the Land Trust, we had been awarded a grant, but this week we received a grant from the State Florida Communities Trust of $894,000. And these funds were granted as partial reimbursement for the acquisition of one of those properties, our 36-acre, what we now call our Headwaters Preserve, which was acquired in 2023. And these funds will help us to create amenities for guided tours of the property. We're going to be putting in some trails and observation deck on the river there amongst the beautiful trees. There'll be a very small picnic pavilion and some signage. And so we're excited to be able to be reimbursed for the acquisition, which will allow us to pay it forward for other future acquisitions and to be able to build these amenities. So we're excited about that. We're just going to get started on the amenities now that we've received the funding, and expect it to take a couple of years before we can have guided tours out there.
How's the environmental classroom coming along?
That's moving along as well. We're excited at Coastal Oaks Preserve. The Living Classroom project is just phenomenal on this 226-acre property. And one key aspect of the project is to build this gathering pavilion where people will arrive and sort of gather and figure out their afternoon, their morning out on the preserve, the preserve is really a living classroom, and then come back to the pavilion where there's wet labs and restrooms and teaching gathering space. And we're excited that we finally received all the permits for that just a few weeks ago, and we anticipate beginning construction on that before the end of this month. So next couple of weeks.
All right. Well, good things ahead for the Indian River Land Trust, Ken. I appreciate you being on and sharing all that information.
Thank you, Bob. And one last thing, we have our annual benefit. Save the date for Thursday, November 12th. Keep an eye out.
All right. Ken, look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Bob.
Ken Grudens with the Indian River Land Trust.